Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick warning before we start this story. At one point in it, there is a reference and description of spousal abuse, so if that is a topic that you're sensitive to, you might want to skip this story. Now, let's get started. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user Sue May. Me, 27 female with my sister, 24 female, and her husband, 30 male. He announced to everyone at my wedding I am infertile and a bitch. Background. Due to medical problems, I lost a baby when I was 22 and have been unable to conceive since. Doctors say I have a 50% chance of ever becoming pregnant. 4 months ago, Richard, brother-in-law, and I got into an argument when I threatened to call CPS if he left a party with my niece, while tipsy. And just to note, he has totaled 3 cars, has 2 DUIs, and been to rehab, but has always gone back to drinking. He broke his leg in one of the crashes. He has ruined several events while drunk, and I was not about to let him potentially kill my niece on icy roads. I hope no one else thinks this makes me a bitch for doing it. He told me I would regret it. He went home, sobered up, and seemed alright. We talked it out and he apologized. He tried to watch his alcohol intake around me. I thought he was doing better. Now, I got married in the middle of last month. Tyler, my husband, 28 years old, was hesitant about inviting my sister, Claire, 24, and Richard. He said something always went wrong when they were around. I should have listened. Claire promised to keep an eye on Richard because he has a tendency to become obnoxious when drunk. We had about 50 guests, and Tyler wanted to allow people to give speeches. We had a videographer set up to record them. Richard went up to the mic, drunk, and gave a hate-filled speech. He said Tyler should run because I'm a controlling bitch. He announced my sister is pregnant a second time. He finished by saying he hoped God continued to punish me by making me dead-ass F down there. The videographer cut that bit out of the final video, but I keep hearing it in my head. Everyone heard it. So now we get to the current problem. Claire wants to fix this, but I am not sure I have it in me to forgive Richard. At least, not for a long time. I don't want to be bitter, but he is an a-hole and I hate him at the moment. What can I say that will help my sister see that this is not something that can be fixed right away? I want to make it through this without ruining the family, but it feels impossible. Advice? Help? Thoughts? What can I do or say to make Richard understand what he did was beyond hurtful? I just don't know what to say to make them understand. Well, OP, in my opinion, there's nothing you can say to make them understand because there is nothing to understand. He said that on purpose, to be hurtful. Now, some people, maybe Claire, is gonna blame it on him being an a-hole when he's drunk or something like that. But that's just enabling. This guy has a problem with alcohol and he's an a-hole. Those two combined just give you Richard. And also, this isn't on you. If anybody has to make this right, or like Claire says that she wants to fix this, then she should be the one to talk to Richard to go to you and apologize for being a jerk. This guy ruined your wedding out of spite or something. I don't know, he's a child. Why should you be the one to try to make them see that what he did was idiotic and hurtful? Sounds to me like your sister has her priorities all wrong. This Richard guy sounds like bad news. Not just because he wanted to drive while tipsy with his daughter, but also what he did to you in your wedding out of spite. There must be more stories about him. So again, OP, you don't need to do anything here. You need to wait for an apology. And what do you guys think OP should do? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Deleted says, I don't think you can. If she doesn't see the writing on the wall, in my experience, she's too delusional to hear your words. There are 1,000,001 reasons why people stay with a-holes, none of which are in your control to fix, I'm afraid. You risk alienating your sister because even though it feels like you're trying to push him away, you're actually pushing her away. A friend once told me that friendship, in this case the relationship with your sister, can either be a fountain or a river. You can be a river and drown her with your good intentions, or you can be a fountain that is there when she needs you the most. It's tough to sit back and watch her life get consumed with an a-hole, but I don't think you can do much. Keflex says, what's with society and telling people to forgive each other? Most of the time that makes sense, but it's not a universal rule. Sometimes people do things so awful that they don't deserve forgiveness. To me, this is one of those cases. I would cut him out of my life completely, explain to my sister that I am doing this and it is specifically because of this lone incident, and just ignore anyone that tells me I'm being too cruel. None of them know what this feels like, neither do I, so take this as you will. In a lot of things in life, we defer to experts. In cases like this, you are the expert. You are the only one who has a deep, intimate understanding of what that speech did to you. That alone should dictate your actions from here on out, not a societal expectation. And Opie responds, I will always welcome my sister into my home if she is in need. I just cannot bear the idea of Richard being around me. It hurts too much. Surgus says, if he's saying stuff like this to you at a party, it makes me wonder what kind of things he says to your sister in private. And I don't mean about you. It makes me wonder how he treats her and his daughter in general. Your sister could very well be in an abusive relationship. Additional information from OP's comments. My husband's brothers removed him and I was taken into the back room with my mother. No one said anything to me. They continued with the speeches and then Tyler came into the back and asked if I wanted to continue the party. After the wedding though, like in the next few days, I got a lot of people calling saying they were so sorry. No apology from Claire or Richard. I don't think Claire understands that it is Richard's fault for getting drunk, not just, it was the booze, he is wonderful all the other times. Like I said at the beginning of the post, Richard has crashed 3 cars, broken his leg in one of them, and drank to the point where he blacks out. I was not letting him drive a small child to her death, and I believe that CPS should be called when the father tries to drive their daughter home drunk, and he has done it before, but Claire refused to do anything about it. I am in no way ever going to regret standing up for my niece and making sure she is safe. It just hurts because Claire is my little sister and I love her so much. I love my niece, and to know that this will ruin our relationship makes me feel so sad. Just can't deal with him. Claire is a nice person, but Richard has become something she is blind on. She thinks I will forgive him and forget what he said, mostly because no one in the family will talk to them at the moment with anything more than disdain. If I forgive him, she thinks everyone else will come around or something. She makes a lot of excuses. My mother has spoken to her about the DUIs and kept their daughter overnight because she refused to let that man take her grandchild. My niece is old enough that she has actually said she doesn't want daddy driving her because he scares her. Now, I don't think the relationship is abusive, but I could be wrong. Certainly, he drinks, but he always seems sweet to her when he is drunk as well. Very lovely, even when about to pass the F out. But I think that might be because she never speaks up against him. He was nice to me when drunk until I spoke up against him. So she is either an enabler and cannot see the problem, or she spoke up too many times and didn't like what happened. We have talked to her about his behavior before and she brushes it off. I called Claire and told her not to come tomorrow. We are busy and I would talk to her over FaceTime instead. She wasn't happy. She told me that I needed to work this out soon because Richard had been uninvited to the family vacation. I guess people are tired of his crap. I can't help but think how ironic it is. My sister marries a drunk and has 2 kids. I married a really loving guy and can't have any. I'm not saying I resent them for this, but the way the world works is so random sometimes. Anyway, I just want those kids to be safe and Claire is not working towards that. Well, community agrees. Richard is an a-hole and OP has nothing to be forgiving around here. He should be apologized. We also got a lot more context regarding Claire and Richard's relationship, which doesn't sound good, and also that the family hates him. So now, let's move on with the first of 2 updates to see how this story continues. It's been 3 days since my initial post, and this happened today. At noon, Tyler, my husband, called up Claire and Richard to talk. They went to lunch. Tyler told him that what they said to me was wrong. He did not want them around me or in our home. He said niece was free to still visit, but he was washing his hands of them. Claire and Richard tried to leave hubby with the bill because Claire forgot her purse. Tyler paid his part of the tab and was already gone, so Claire was asked to pay. This made Claire furious. She felt hubby should have paid for the lunch since he invited them out. In the afternoon, Claire came to talk to me about Tyler. She was upset. I invited her in and we sat on the couch. Claire seemed really stressed and was near tears. She ranted for a good 20 minutes about Tyler and the family disrespecting Richard. She never took ownership of anything, blaming it on others. She claimed everyone in the family hated Richard for no reason. He was a good man and a good father. The family put their foot down and told her Richard was not allowed at any events in the near and distant future. She told me that people in the family were telling her different things. Some family members would not even talk about Richard, as if he were a bad word. Others said, if OP forgives him, then we will talk about letting him back in. She believed my niece was being punished for a miscommunication. This is BS because everyone has always been concerned about protecting my niece from Claire and Richard. If anything, they would have told Claire to drop her off and leave. Claire said she would not be letting my niece go anywhere Richard was not allowed. She thought people were being petty and saying, I don't want an alcoholic near my family. Well, I am not overly religious. Claire brought in the idea of God. We needed to forgive one another and own up to our faults. I should, apparently, take ownership of the situation. I needed to apologize, not Richard, according to Claire's logic. She viewed my actions as abandoning her in her time of need. I asked her what she thought about what Richard said. She was there when he said it. I have not been able to watch the whole speech a second time without tears, so I have not sat down with her and watched it, but I am going to send her a copy of the video. And what did I do to her husband that made his actions justifiable? Her answer was, you were rude and tried to prevent him from leaving with niece. Every time I tried to be logical, she backtracked. Hearing her blame me was more hurtful than what Richard said. I told her, you haven't asked how I am. I left the party in tears. It ruined my wedding. You never called to say you loved me or were sorry. You took him home, then blamed me for the whole thing. She seemed genuinely hurt I would accuse her of not loving me. She cared but was having a hard time dealing with all this. Apparently, it was unfair Tyler was accepted and Richard was not. I should have had her back. She was hurt I didn't stand up for her. I asked her if Richard drank at home. She gave a vehement no. There was nothing wrong with her family. She told me to stop acting like she was in a bad situation. She was not. I finally told her that I couldn't have Richard in my life. I loved my niece, but Richard, and her by association, were toxic. I believed Richard's drinking problem would get them killed one day. Also, she didn't seem to grasp that Richard wasn't allowed around because he was obnoxious, hurtful, cruel, and crass. They should not have to deal with him just because she married him. Booze is not an excuse and it will never be. I let her know if she needed help leaving him, I would be there. I would take my niece at a moment's notice. That I would always love her and the past we shared. However, I believed Richard to be a dangerous alcoholic due to the crashed cars, the broken bones, and the DUIs. But I was not going to sit there and watch him destroy her. She looked at me, mouth open, and tried to make excuses. Richard is stressed. The whole family was abandoning her. I told her that I would think about accepting him back into my life if, and only if, he got the help he needed. Apologized sincerely and was sober for 2 years plus. She stormed out of the house. I won't see her for a long time. I hope she takes this to heart, but I finally said what needed to be said. Well, OP, good for you. You still love her, you're gonna support her, but she needs to take the first step and get out of the fog. Hopefully the conversation that you had with her is gonna help her do that. Anyways, like I said before, there were 2 updates to this, so let's move on to the final one to see how this story ends. So it's been 2 weeks since my last update, and I now have temporary custody of my niece. Here's how it happened. My sister showed up a few days ago and told me she lost the baby. She had a black eye and said it happened when she slipped down the stairs. She was shaken and in pain. I told her we needed to call the police. She said she didn't want to, but she was going to let me see my niece since I missed her so much. I asked her to stay. I begged her really. Even Tyler told her we forgave her and wanted her with us. She would be safe with us. Instead, she chose to go back home. We called the police anyways and they showed up. Talked to us both, talked to niece, and said we could have her until they figured out what was going on. When they got to the house, Richard started cursing at them and threatened to get his gun. He doesn't own a gun that I know of, and who would give him one? But they took him into custody. They then searched his house for the gun and they found more than alcohol right on the table. Idiot. So he is now in jail for who knows how long and no sign of my sister. We have not heard from her and I don't know when we will. I drove by her house and her car was out front, but she didn't answer when I knocked. I figured she wants to be alone, but I dropped off some food and it was gone when I went back. I have been doing this every day or having someone else in the family do it. I have left her messages on her house phone saying I forgive her and I miss her. We will help her. Richard has a court date and we all plan to be there to testify. We are pressing all the charges we can. My niece will not be there, but I hope my sister will. It's in a few months. Until then, Richard is in prison because no one will bail him out and he is considered a flight risk. Right now, we are taking off work for a week so we can take niece to some local places she might like. For the most part, the only person she talks to is our pet and me. She sleeps beside me and Tyler has moved into the guest room for the time being. We are going to allow it for now. She wants to dress like me. She freaks out if I'm not in the room. Any mention of her father has her shaking her head and looking away. We have taken her to some therapy, but she just won't talk about it. It is the wrong place. Claire should never have married him, but this is neither here nor there. I now have a young niece with no idea when her parents are coming back. We have been talking to everyone we can about getting permanent custody of her and a restraining order on Richard and help for Claire, but nothing has come up yet. Extended update from OP's comments. The neighbor says she has seen my sister peek out every few days. I think she is just in mourning. Still, we leave hot meals and the containers are always returned washed out. At this point, we are just hoping that my sister will press abuse charges. If she won't talk and my niece can't stand trial, then all we have is some drunk driving charges and a few others, which won't make him go away. But his court date is different. No one will bail him out until that, I guess, so he sits on his ass until his court date. As for my niece, the worst thing she has done so far is freak out when my husband tries to hug me or go into the room and close the door. I am not sure what happened, but the more we try therapy, the more she shuts down. So we are going to try to let her chill out and be a kid for a bit before we talk about it. We are hoping she will say something that will allow us to keep her father in prison for longer, but we are not going to force it. In a few weeks, we will try therapy again, but she is doing worse when she is around people she does not know. We were told to let her tell us what she wants. Apparently, she wants to see ponds, so to the ponds we go. She wants to see the zoo, so to the zoo we will be going. It is mostly we tell her what places we can go to, and she tells me which one she wants to go to. Oh wow, OP, I am so sorry for your sister and your niece, and for the loss of the baby. That is such a horrible situation. I hope your sister presses charges, or that your niece gives up something that would help you guys put him away for a long time. So in the meantime, all I can do is just wish the best for all of you, except for Richard, of course. Thank you for sharing, OP, and take care. Now, we definitely need to move on to a mood booster. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Fresh Outta Patience. My boss wanted me to dress for him. This was years ago, but it still makes me giggle. When I was 19, I got my first real office job. We weren't customer facing, so everyone dressed really casually. Jeans, tennis shoes, t-shirts. One day my boss called me in to talk to me about the dress code. He said that he'd like his assistant to wear business attire like they do at the corporate office. I asked what that is, and he said like little dresses with jackets. I felt icky, but I didn't fully understand why for years. That night my boyfriend, now my husband, took me to the store and I bought 5 outfits that exactly matched my boss's attire. Old man jeans, cotton button-up shirts, and loafers. That's what I wore until I left the company. He couldn't say a damn thing and he never talked to me about the dress code again. I now realize that I ruined his little fantasy and it makes me proud of my young self. Well played, OP, the reverse dress code card. Nicely done. Thanks for sharing. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you. from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.